Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my neighbor take back the dog they abandoned? Throw away for privacy. I, 28F, live in a pretty quiet neighborhood and have always loved animals. About 6 months ago, my next-door neighbors, Mark and Julie, moved out of their house and completely abandoned their dog, Buddy, a 4-year-old golden retriever. They didn't say a word about it, just left him tied up in the backyard with a bag of food and water. When I realized what had happened, I was furious. Who leaves a dog behind like that? I immediately took Buddy in and made sure he was safe and fed. Over the next few days, I tried contacting Mark and Julie to find out what was going on. They ignored all my calls and texts, so I figured they didn't care and had intentionally left Buddy behind. I ended up deciding to keep him. Buddy is the sweetest dog I've ever met, and he quickly became a huge part of my life. I took him to the vet, got him vaccinated, and made sure he was healthy. It's been 6 months, and he's like family to me now. He's happy, healthy, and honestly living his best life. Then, last week, Mark randomly showed up at my door, saying they wanted Buddy back. Apparently, they had some personal issues and had to leave town quickly, but now that things had settled, they were ready to bring him home. I was shocked. I told Mark there was no way I was giving Buddy back after they abandoned him for 6 months without any contact. Mark got really defensive, saying that Buddy was their dog, and I had stolen him. He accused me of taking advantage of their situation and guilt-tripped me by saying that he and Julie had just been going through a tough time and needed a fresh start. He claimed that Buddy was better off with them since he's their dog, and they had raised him for years. I told him straight up that Buddy was staying with me. If they cared so much about him, they wouldn't have left him behind like he was nothing. I reminded him that I had spent time and money taking care of Buddy when they couldn't be bothered to even let me know what was going on. I told him that Buddy has a new home now and that I wasn't about to uproot him just because they suddenly decided they wanted to play the responsible pet owners again. Now, Mark and Julie are furious. They've been going around the neighborhood, telling people I've stole their dog and that I'm a terrible person for not giving him back. FYI, they're living at a hotel and will leave sometime this week. I feel like I'm doing the right thing by keeping Buddy, but am I the a-hole? TLDR, my neighbors abandoned their dog when they moved out, and I took him in, cared for him, and made him part of my family for 6 months. Now they want the dog back. I refused.
Am I the a-hole for calling out my coworker and leading them to tears? I work what some people in the medical field would consider a unicorn job. No weekends or holidays, no on-call, and, for me, a set schedule. I have been working this set schedule for more than a year without issue. This was decided with my manager upon hire, though not in writing. At the time, I was the first and only full-time employee, so I was offered my choice of scheduling. My tenure to new employees has held up, and in my opinion, rightfully so. My experience in the medical field has always been if you're tenured, you're going to get the best schedule. Well, recently, my manager has informed me that there are complaints from the other 4 employees that it is unfair that I don't work Fridays or weekends, but none of us do, and that he would like for me to work a few Fridays. Now, I'm a single mom with young kids. My kids are in multiple therapies, sports classes, and all appointments for routine things are scheduled out for Fridays. And at this point in the year, it is scheduled out basically through December because my set schedule has been the norm for over a year. In talking with a few of my coworkers, 3 of them don't really mind that my schedule is what it is and understand where I'm coming from. I'm the only one of us with small kids to have to work around. However, today when my manager approached me again about these complaints, I know who it came from because I've already confronted the others. So I confronted coworker number 4 in front of the others, asking why there is such an issue with my schedule, which is truly none of their business why I am available or not available certain days. This coworker stated things like, "It's not fair," and "Fridays are a hard day, and if I want a Friday off I have to request it, and I only get it off if I'm going out of town. Okay? And? That is not my issue. Why does it need to be fair? This is the real world and not kindergarten. I have never worked a job where an equal-level coworker's opinion dictated someone else's schedule. Why do I have to pull my children from sports and classes and rearrange our life because one person cried about fairness? During this confrontation, this coworker told me, "That is between you and the manager," and I said, "Yeah, it was until you decided to complain about it and now it involves you." Coworker number 4 got teary, eyed and left crying after the relatively civil confrontation. Meaning, there was no yelling or name-calling, but they cried. So, am I the a-hole for calling my worker out and making them cry?
Am I the a-hole for replacing my friend's throw pillow with a thrifted identical version? So my 24F friend Wendy, 23F, just got a new apartment. She's the first of our friend group to get an apartment, so everyone is really excited, and Wendy wants it to be the main place we all go to hang out. Wendy threw a party this past Friday, just a small get-together with our friend group and some of Wendy's cousins. After a few hours, we were all pretty drunk, including me. I accidentally spilled my wine on one of her throw pillows. I tried to wash it out, but no luck. Of course, I offered to replace the pillow, and Wendy sent me the link to where she bought it. It was $70 for a tiny little carrot pillow. I told her I would definitely replace it, but I would probably have to wait for a few weeks for my next check, because that eats into my gas money. She seemed a little pissy, and I felt bad. Yesterday, my other friends wanted to go thrifting for their Halloween costumes. I already got mine, but wanted to tag along. I thought it was my lucky day because at one of the thrift stores was the exact pillow. Like the very same one with the tag from the store and everything. The thrift store was selling it for $12, so I got it because it was cheaper, and now Wendy would be able to have her complete living room quicker than we thought. Fast forward a couple hours, and we all go over to Wendy's to show her the Halloween haul, and I present her with a pillow. First she was happy, but then she was like, "How are you going to get to work?" I explained that I found it at a thrift store, and she threw it at me and acted all grossed out. Now I'm confused because we all go thrifting all the time, including Wendy. But Wendy was like, "I don't buy soft furnishings at the thrift store." I offered to wash it and bring it back, but she said no and still demanded that I buy the one from the actual store. I said no, I would wash the thrifted pillow for her, but I'm not buying a pillow for $70. She said it was my fault for spilling wine in the first place, and said I was too clumsy to live. Then I said for someone who wants to host parties, you're being a big brat about a little spill. We left it at that, but I left a few minutes later because I could tell Wendy was really annoyed at me. Now the friend group is taking sides, and one of my friend's girlfriend told me that now there's a group chat that doesn't have me or Wendy in it called ThePillowCrisis of 2024, where everyone is arguing who is in the right. I did wash the pillow and gave it to my friend to give it to Wendy, but apparently she refused to put it on her couch, and it now resides in the floor pillow pile. So, am I the a-hole? TLDR, I spilled wine on my friend's very expensive throw pillow. I replaced it with the identical pillow from the thrift store at a lower price. My friend wasn't happy and demanded that I buy it from the actual store. I refused, and insults were thrown back and forth. Am I the a-hole?
Am I the a-hole for being topless in my own home? I live with my partner, so it's normal for me to be topless if I'm getting clothes for another room, for example, if I shower and need to go to the bedroom to grab clothes. Last night, I was on my own as my partner was seeing family. I went in the shower, and once I got out, I realized I hadn't picked a t-shirt up, so I went from the bathroom to the bedroom in just my trousers. Once I left the bathroom, I saw my girlfriend and her cousin, who was 16, sat in the living room. I apologized, then went straight to the bedroom to put a t-shirt on. After her cousin left, my girlfriend said I shouldn't have been walking around topless. I pointed out it's my home and I wasn't expecting guests, so I don't always need to be completely covered up. I told her that if she told me she was bringing her cousin back and said what time they'd be back, then it wouldn't have been an issue, but she can't expect me to just know what she'd planned. She just said again that it was embarrassing and inappropriate for her cousin to see me topless, but I again pointed out I had no idea she was even bringing her cousin back to ours, but she just said I was deflecting from what she was saying. Am I the a-hole for being topless in my own home?
Am I the a-hole for refusing to spend $130 on a bridesmaid bouquet when I'm the bridesmaid? I was a part of one of my close friends' bridal parties. She's always struggled financially a little bit, and now she's getting married. She asked if us bridesmaids could pay for the dresses. We said yes. Then she asked if we could pay for our own bouquets. I said of course to help her out, later to find out that the bouquets were going to be more expensive than the dresses, at $130 each. She chose the most expensive bouquets, and I've offered to even make all of them myself, but she's refused because these are the ones she wants. I'm the youngest bridesmaid, only in my early 20s, Some of the other girls were not too happy about it, but I was the only one who said something to the bride. I was polite and just tried to let her know that I have other financial commitments, and spending $130 on flowers that will be thrown away after the wedding seems a little steep. She's now removed me as a bridesmaid. I'm not sure what to do. Am I the a-hole? Big thanks to everyone who watched to the end. I really appreciate the support. And please hit the subscribe button.